You know what they say about herding cats? The only way to get them to do anything is to make them think it's exactly what you don't want them to do. They'll squeeze into every box in the house, but the moment a game rule demands it, they're nowhere to be seen. The same goes even when you're trying to save them from an island about to be destroyed by the forces of evil. Finally, we have a game that exemplifies the experience of trying to manage feline stubbornness and aloofness. Hi, I'm Daniel from Board Game Feast, where the dining table and the games table meet to create lasting memories. I'll be pairing a game with some edible treats, and I'll give you some insight into how I prepared and everything, and what I thought of the game. And on today's menu is the Isle of Cats. The Isle of Cats is a card drafting and tile laying game for 1 to 4 players. The Dark Lord Vesh is en route to destroy the mysterious island rumoured to be home to many fabled breeds of felines, and it's up to you to save as many as you can from the doomed islands and earn as much renown as possible from your competitors trying to do the same thing. But don't expect these cats to look kindly upon their saviours. They'll take all kinds of cajoling and bribery to allow you the honour of rescuing them. On your turn, you'll be drafting cards to aid you in this effort, from baskets to put the cats in, scoring goals to work towards, special actions, and even the odd bit of treasure for your trouble. It's not like you're getting any thanks from the cats. The trick is, once you've selected your cards, you then have to pay for each one you want to keep, with a limited allowance of fish as currency each round. But don't spend it all, because this is the same resource you'll need to tempt cats into your baskets. You'll be placing the polynomial cat and treasure tiles onto your boat, earning points for putting families of matching colours together, covering up rats, completing rooms, in addition to any bonus scoring cards you've drafted. Now there really is a lot of replayability here between the cards that you're drafting and the cats that you're putting into your boats. I really like the challenge of having to balance the one type of currency between the cards and the cat tiles. It's a nail-biting decision when you might have to sacrifice some tasty cards in order to have a shot at maybe drafting multiple cats, but if you're not quick enough in the initiative order, then your opponents will get there first. Now, with the number of options for scoring in this game, you really have a lot of agency over how much risk you want to take. The deck of cards here is huge, and there's all kinds of options from nullifying negative points like the rats to taking a bit more risk with competing against your opponents, say points for having the most orange cats on your boat. And then there's ways of improvising with the action cards or the treasure cards to fill in any unfortunate gaps in your strategy. But don't let these cats beguile you. Much like Calico, this is a deceptively thinky game that will get its claws into your brain, trying to balance your various needs. Thankfully, the game also comes with a stripped down family mode, so if your kids or mother-in-law demand to play the cute cat game, there's an option there with a simplified rule set. There's also the solo mode, which turns the game into a fun optimization puzzle, but I found it to have a little bit too much upkeep. Finally, there's an option for a remote mode, turning the game into something of a flip and write, and designed to be streamed with friends online. While it's another simplified version with a reduced selection of cards, I actually found it to be a wonderful distillation of the mechanics. Solid enough that I enjoyed playing it regardless of whether it was remote or with friends in the same room. The game's a wonderful foundation, both thematically and mechanically, with all the different modes to explore and so many cards with the various options and strategies to try out. Some seasoned players might find it a little bit luck-driven or be frustrated by the way the cards come out or the cat tiles come out of the bag. It really does favour clever improvisation over careful planning. But with a number of ways of customizing play here, there really is something for just about everybody. Now, with that said, I'm sure you're well and truly famished after days of chasing cats around the island. So let's get to the kitchen for a fancy feast. Speaking of Fancy Feast, right as I was planning this video, Fancy Feast, the cat food company, put out a literal cookbook of human food inspired by their feline fare, which was too perfect an opportunity to pass up. So here we have salmon capelletti in a cream and spinach sauce. Now, for something a little different, I wanted to plate up something my actual cats could eat. Partly inspired by one of my favourite YouTube channels, June's Kitchen, who makes beautifully elaborate dishes alongside his own kitties. So the obvious answer was to plate up some nice sushi, but it turns out that raw fish is actually not recommended for pets, even sashimi grade. There's apparently a particularly nasty bacteria in salmon here in the Pacific Northwest that only affects dogs. So we had to get a little more experimental. What we have here is sushi with steamed salmon, chicken, and for the pickiest of palates, sardines, all served on their very own sushi boat. That's just as well because Ted here refused to eat all but the latter, and Mort wouldn't even get out of bed. But thankfully we have Poe here with no such reservations. Finally, for our game night snack, and to celebrate the wonderful theme of Isle of Cats, I can never resist the excuse to bake up some custom cookies. And of course, as per the current expansions on Kickstarter, don't forget the kittens. Thanks for watching another episode of Board Game Feast. Now my schedule only really allows one of these big videos once a month or so don't forget to subscribe to be notified of the next video. I'm also experimenting with a few other formats on the horizon, and in the meantime you can find me on Twitter and Instagram below. And don't forget to feed the meeple.